Right, you are, folks, at it again. I've eventually got settled up at the ponds after a bit of faffing around. I don't know what was the matter with my head. I have to have a word with myself. I was just fighting about. Had a good old walk round, seen nothing. There was a match on here this morning, and I did set up in another spot, and it turned out there's a bloody ant's nest in there, so I had to vacate that one. That was a nice swim. There was a lot of options in that swim, and I'm a bit gutted that I had to abandon it. Yeah, so this was the swim I was originally going to fish. As you can see, there's plenty of options. There's a nice little groove in there to fish, a little bit here. You can even get over into this lot, but unfortunately there was a fucking ant's nest in here, so there was no way I was gonna fish in there. Bugger that. Anyway, I've moved a couple down. It's kind of on the other side of a causeway. There's a shallow causeway full of reeds. I'm on the other side of that, and it bowls down quite deep here. Not sure whether that's really great or not, but anyway, we shall see. I've only fished this little spot really for carp once before. Basically, I've got one bang up against the reed bed in the corner here, and down there I've just fed a load of crumb boilies, whole boilies, and quite a lot of pellets. I'm just kind of fed fairly heavily today. Conditions are good, it's windy, there should be oxygen in the water, the fish should be active, it's relatively warm. I'm kind of, yeah, I've put some bait in basically. So that one is just a bag of pellet and boilie crumb, German rig, and a little snowman. I'm actually using my unusual boilie today. It's a sort of nut based one. I usually tend to use fish meals, but I've just decided to give these a whirl. They're very good. They're very, I mean, on paper that's a good bait. There is some pre-digested fish meal in them as well, because that's just, it's such a good attractor. And it's got peanut protein, hemp protein, tiger nut flour, and then bird food and milks in there, so it's kind of like the whole gamut in these. And then further out there's like a little spur of reeds that sticks out, and that's obviously where there's a shallower bit, so it's a feature. So I've got one over there, and I've put about 10 spods of particle over there, and then just thrown some boilies over the top. And we're just going to wait and see, really. I'm relatively confident of a bite. Usually catch something down here. Last time I fished this swim, I actually got cold feet, and I moved next door. I ended up catching a few. I'm going to stick it out here today. Now, down behind the reeds here, in this, the corner goes like that. I've got one bammed up against the reeds there. I've tossed in a load of bait there. And then over here, centre of the screen, see this little pokey reed bit that sticks out? There's obviously a spur of shallow, because these reeds won't grow if the water's deeper than about 4 foot. So there's obviously a little shallowy bit there, and then there's a slightly deeper hole in the back, and then this bit's deeper. So I've kind of chucked it on top of that little ridge there. and wait and see. As you see, the wind is funneling right into this part of the lake. It's looking nice. There's lots of orchids here. I'll show you some in a minute. Loads of them, they're all over the place. I've seen marsh orchids, common orchids, pyramidal orchids and bee orchids. That's quite nice to see. It's chalky here, so they like that. That is a bee orchid. As you can see, looks kind of like a bee. There's a whole load more there. That one is a pyramidal orchid. Right, that'll do for now for orchids. Got a real cracker here. Really pretty fish. How's that for a fish? What a beauty. Ooh. Could be worth a weigh, that one. That was nice. My scales were fucked, so I don't know what that weighed. Felt pretty decent actually, for in here anyway. I don't know whether it was a sort of 16-ish. Could be more. Don't know. It's a big long fish, but anyway, there you go. Yeah, my scales, I don't know what's the matter with those. Don't know whether they got wet last night, but I went to weigh the fish and they weren't working, so decided to just snap a quick pick, and instead of mucking about, just put the fish back. So there you go. But that's good. Yeah, because you don't usually catch so many in the day here. The right old song and dance that. He shot into the reeds over there, so I just kept some pressure on him and he was flapping about, and then came out and I thought I had him under control, and he dove straight into the reeds down here, and I could actually get into I had to get in, and I poked him with the net handle at first on the nose, thinking hopefully he might wriggle around and back up a bit, but he didn't. So I then tried to net him in the reeds, and that actually dislodged him back out into open water again. I got him in, but it was a bit of a bloody palaver. But yeah, no, I'm very pleased with that. That's great. I can I can chill out a bit now. I don't know what's the matter with me today. I'm all like, I need to settle down and have something to eat, I think. So I've just put the rods back out again, bit more feed over this one down here. I mean, my theory is if you catch a carp, the chances are it's wiped out most of the stuff you've put in. You know, by the time it gets around to your hook bait, the hook bait's not going to be the first thing it goes for. Unless of course it just goes straight down on the bag, but you know, you look at underwater footage, they kind of ignore the hook bait for a fair old while. And I had been getting liners really from the off on that rod for a couple of hours of there being a fish or several on that spot, just hoovering everything up. One thing I have been doing is just chucking just crumbing up some boilies and getting a sort of ball and chucking that over there. That's going to sort of break up and be a sort of carpet feed that releases a lot of attraction into the swim, and it's also small enough so that little fish can eat it, and I think that's quite good. Two reasons. little fish attract big fish, and 2, it's stuff that's in the water sending out attractive food signals, that if it's being eaten by something else, it means a carp can't eat it and get full up. So, that's the duck. I thought there was a fish showing over my spot there. Well, nothing else yet. Actually, no liners or anything either since that fish. So, just going to settle in for the night, really. I've been just dripping little bits of feed onto both spots. Well, on the further line, I've just been chucking boilies over there because I can't easily get anything else over without putting on a spom or something, and I can't be arsed with that shit. And then this inside line, I've just been chucking balls of crumbed boilie and the odd pellet, and obviously the bags that I've been using are introducing a bit as well. I kind of like to fish them a bit like swim feeders, so I will cast out every hour or so. 2 main reasons really. There is quite a lot of dead reeds and stuff on the bottom here, so I don't want to be sitting there all night if my hook's stuck in a reed stalk. There's one down there somewhere that I actually did have on the hook when I reeled in. Now they might not necessarily be on the hook. I might be catching them on the retrieve, but I'm always a little bit sketchy about that. And the second reason for doing it, as I say, it's like a swim feeder. Fresh bait in the swim, fresh attraction in the swim. Perhaps getting a few little fish grubbing about as well. It's something there for a fish to home in onto as well. I mean, I don't know how many little fish are in here. I've never fished it for small fish. But if there's significant activity from roach and rudd and things, well, that little ball of bait around your hook bait from the bag, that's going to get eaten, and the activity of the little fish will kind of wash it away. So I like to renew those fairly regular, every hour or 2 really. So I'm trying to think. Today I've been here fishing since 4, so that's 5 hours. Yeah, I've probably recast both rods 3 or 4 times now. So sort of every hour and a half. I know, guys, if it'll just leave a bait on a spot for 24 or 48 hours or more. I can't do that. No, especially when I'm not certain of the bottom. You know, if it was clean and I knew it was clean, then I'd be a little tempted to leave it out. I don't think I've ever left a bait out for more than 6 hours, ever. It just doesn't sit right with me. Oh, little morning wake-up call. Only a small one, but lovely. Nice little alarm clock. Well, after that little chappy, I've unfortunately got to pack up and go home. I would have stayed and had a little stalk this morning, but I can't. It's normally pretty good for stalking in the mornings here. It's funny, I always seem to catch little ones in the morning. I don't think I've caught a fish over 10 pounds here in the morning. Always seem to catch the bigger ones at night. Who knows? Alright, I'll see you this afternoon at Frensham.